Hi everyone, my name is Charlene, and I'm here to discuss whether or not you should study or work after your first internship. I will be discussing two scenarios. The first scenario is if you are in a UX related role without UX education and are thinking about further studies or to continue working. The second scenario is if you've already qualified as a UX practitioner and as a UX graduate and thinking of furthering your study after your first UX related internship to a higher tertiary education of perhaps a university and above, or a master's, or an advanced diploma. We'll start with the first scenario. Let's say you are in a design thinking role from a business background and you've just completed 6 months of internship somewhere in innovation or in a tech company. And now you're thinking, do I want to get a full-time job with my internship, or do I want to find one with another company for a different type of experience, or do I want to further my studies and not get paid for another few years? So let's talk about it. Obviously, you're gonna need to validate yourself as a UX practitioner, as a UX researcher at some point. Does it need to be now? Well, do you currently have a full-time position being offered to you? If yes, take it first. Why? Because UX JDs and UX hiring expectations are growing, and you do not want to fall short when you started early on in the race. If you feel confident that you are able to learn UX online through any online course or just by experience, then you really don't have to rush in getting that certification, and I would take the opportunity of the full-time role. Let's say a full-time role is not on the table and it's not being offered to you right at the moment. I would recommend putting up your resume. While going through your resume, you are able to self-evaluate if you think this is a good enough portfolio to get a full-time job. If while creating your portfolio, you realize that, hey, I think I need a little bit more experience, perhaps going to school might help you with getting case studies for your resume. If you are determined enough, you are also able to come up with case studies on your own in a shorter time frame, and this could result in a quicker full-time job offer. Simultaneously, you are also able to apply to some schools. So think about the quickest UX and the most qualified UX school. Personally, I went to General Assembly, but right now there are so many courses available. So do your research. Find out the cost of the fee, find out the amount of recognition this course have, and then make that decision. Okay, so next we're going to talk about if you are a UX designer and you've already gotten your certificate, just finished your internship, and you're thinking of, hey, do I need to study? So I'm going to unpack this really quick. Firstly, I know in Singapore a lot of parents require us to have a university certification. So is this actually a one from your parent or for yourself? If you're living under the roof of your parents, I would highly suggest that you do that university course. But does it have to be in UX? Think about it, you'll be learning the same thing again. In a short span of time, there would not have been a new theory that have been reintroduced into a UX syllabus. So that's that. Next, if you are already if you have to pick a course, does it have to be UX? If you have a UX background, could you potentially do a university course in something else that's related, like psychology or human-centered behavior or analytics, front-end, product management? There's a lot of things that you could do to strengthen your UX portfolio besides studying UX again. So lastly, I want to talk about finance. So maybe right now your parents still supporting you, but you still want to think about being a good investment to your parents. At least I do. So let's say you are thinking, hey, I could earn a little bit more in my salary if I had a degree. So in my personal opinion, if your portfolio did not grow with your certificate, then your salary is quite your salary increment will be quite minimal, very, very marginal. And if you had taken a really long course, like a 3 years course, you have to also account for 12 months of salary multiplied by 3 years, multiplied by the salary that you had. Is it actually an increment afterward? If it's going to be a marginal increment. If you really think that that would give you a 1 to 2,000 or a 50% increment, then please go ahead and make sure you get that 50% increment. If not, if you settle for less and you take a job just $200 more than you had already gotten before you studied for 3 more years, then that probably wasn't the smartest thing to do, because you would have also gotten a promotion in 1 year when you're working as a UX. And that would have also given you 1 year of work experience for the next job that you might want to apply for. And that would also give you 1 year worth of materials to showcase for your UX portfolio or your UI portfolio. So that's that.